Okay, so hello, welcome everyone. You're here with myself, Kenny, aspiring motivational speaker and programmer. And you're with
And I'm
Caitlin.
Caitlin Ruth. I'm a human potential coach, interior designer, and organizational ninja. And today we're going to talk about what, Kenny?
Yeah, so we wanted to just have a chat about technology and how it's been impacting us, what it's got with society, and just technology as a whole, from advancements to anything we can really think of and link with it. Do you have anything you want to start off with?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it some, like what is our definition of technology? And are we talking about like the technology that we deal with today, or just in general, right, over the ages? Because the reason I pose that question is because we've used technology to get to where we are today, as you know, through human evolution. So
Yeah, that's right. For a definition, I haven't got like a Google definition or anything, but what I'm thinking is anything artificial, anything man-made. Of course, instantly, like my mind just like switches me straight to electronics. So, computers, mobile phones, and things that are on there, like social media, the internet, that sort of thing. But I think anything man-made and artificial really counts as technology.
So we're speaking about the virtual world here, right?
Yeah, mainly.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this realm?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a programmer, right? So yeah, I use it all the time, and I'm, I guess, helping in its advancement, and I love it for what it is. But in terms of what I feel like it's done to us as a society, I don't think we're ready for it. I don't think we're ready for technology as it is right now, especially let alone where it can go and where it's looking like it will go. And when I say I don't think we're ready for it, I think more on a mental level, and spiritual as well.
So basically we're not, what I think that you're saying is that we're not ready to have this sort of integration of it in our lives. And as it is right now, what comes up for me when you say that is how obsessive we are right now with technology, and how it sort of tends to run our lives, like very generally speaking, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, yeah, like I feel like as soon as we wake up, like we're just instantly like plugged into it. Scheduling our lives all the time. We use it as our go-to, and with that comes so many things. Like, it's harder for us to connect with ourselves if we're sucked into something else at the same time. And so, if as soon as we wake up, we're being kind of forced into a different reality, I don't think that is ever going to help with our spirituality. And in turn, that's what I think is most likely the cause of a lot of the mental health issues we have in the world at the moment. I think it's the big disconnect between us and us and ourselves, in a sense, because of technology. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely there's a huge disconnect, and there's um, you know, for me, as soon as when I wake up, lately I have been, you know, I'm getting really busy lately, and I find it important to, you know, look at my calendar and like check, you know, which clients have messaged me, or, you know, whatever, like what do I need to do, what do I need to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately I have got into the habit of checking my phone first thing, right?
Mm.
But that is how I run my business, so that's sort of my excuse.
Yeah.
I run virtual businesses, you know, so um, there is that side of it, and then there's also, okay, I check my phone, but then and this is all like before I even get out of bed in the morning.
Mm.
I set my phone down and I meditate for 20 minutes to half an hour,
Mm.
right? And so for me, you know, ideally I'd switch that around. I'm getting there. Um,
Yeah.
but for me, that's an example of sort of how to manage technology. You know, I need to survive in the modern world. I need to, you know, I run my businesses, like I said, virtually. So I'm using it as a tool, and I'm also managing it, um, managing that and my spiritual life, my mindful life, my conscious life, you know?
Mm. Mm. See, I think that takes a lot of self-control. Um, Self-control, which I don't think most people would really have, because like me, for example, I wouldn't have that sort of self-control. Um, if I went on my phone as soon as I woke up, um, I would very quickly move on to Google, you know, and you start like searching something, or um, seeing all my messages, um, and then like a couple minutes turn into an hour or so, um, and it'll just delay my whole day, which would in turn make me far less productive than starting my days unplugged. So I think I do agree, like it's important that we have to find a balance with integrating or working on ourselves, and with staying in tune and in touch with the modern world as it is, because there's no hiding it. Like technology it does exist, and it's very important. Virtual businesses. How do you run a virtual business without technology? You don't, you know. And um, yeah, so I think it does take a lot of self control, which I don't think most people would have, and that sort of self discipline. So for me, I have to do it the other way around.
Yeah, for
So
sure. And don't get me wrong, like I didn't just like happen upon this way of being, you know, and this like little method that I have going on, or system, whatever you want to call it. um I've gone a long time without looking at my phone first thing, and I got into that practice and that discipline for, I want to say, I mean, a year, maybe even longer,
uh,
where I just did not look at my phone. Like, just that's just a no-no, you know.
well,
So
you see, and
that point, then I get to choose, right? Then I can be intentional and be conscious about what my moves are. So okay, I'm checking my calendar, I'm looking at my emails, I'm gonna just glance at WhatsApp and my text messages, and I'm putting my phone down, and you know, it's whatever, 6:30, 7:30, I'm gonna get out of bed. Between 6:30 and 7, I'm gonna meditate. You know, it's all very intentional and very conscious, and these decisions are yeah, they're intentional.
yeah, I really like that you said that they're intentional and conscious, because otherwise you would just be on autopilot. Okay, we're back. Ironically, technology just messed up.
Right.
And took us right outside. But yeah, anyway, we're back. And yeah, and what I was gonna say was that I really love that you said that you was intentional and is conscious with the actions that you make as you wake up, because otherwise you would just be on autopilot. And when you're on autopilot, you're not being the driver in your life or the master of your life at that point. Life is happening to you, which is unconscious, and that, I believe, is a suppression of spirituality, a suppression of yourself. So I think if you are gonna allow technology in your life, I would go as far as saying, if you're just gonna allow it in your life, the only way that you can progress and help yourself spiritually is if there is intention there, in that given moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm super curious about your take on, like, to me, I see it as two sides, right? Because we have the front end and the back end, essentially, right? So we're users, and we're using everything on the front end. So are you, right? You're a user on the front end, and you're a programmer, so you're on the back end as well, which is like a whole nother thing. And like, I know like this much about like coding and like that, but what my understanding of it is that it's basically its own, it's a whole language, right?
That's right.
And there's this, it's a realm. I'm gonna say it's a realm. It's a world, right? It's back there in all this. Which is kind of creepy, but it exists. Okay, so as a programmer and someone who lives and taps into that realm, like, what is that like for you? How do you stay conscious while you're in that realm?
It's crazy because while I'm creating it, while I'm working on a piece of code, I feel like I'm very in tune with myself. And the reason that is because I feel like I'm tapping into the creativity within me. So it's literally like an art. You understand that as a designer, like it's from a very spiritual. I believe it's from a very spiritual place, a place that's not on the world that we can see, and I'm tapping into that and allowing that to work through me when I'm writing my code. So I feel like I tap into the flow state quite a lot. It's just when you're using it, then it's very easy to get sucked in. But when creating it, no, it's very conscious, very, very intentional. That's what I think. And it's crazy as well with the whole world of it. It's just a series of ones and zeros. That's all it is at the end of the day. And that has created everything in terms of technology, literally everything. And it's evolved so rapidly, and it is evolving rapidly and exponentially. But we as humans aren't, I don't think. And that's why I don't believe that we've got the capacity for it. Like, I saw somewhere that someone said that whenever you see another person, you automatically compare them to yourself. As part of our tribalistic mentality, so that we can keep ourselves in check by seeing what people are like around us. You know, for example, if you came into a tribe and everyone was wearing green and you were wearing yellow, now being able to see what's accepted and acceptable, and then you can say, okay, so I'm going to wear green as well, and I'll be able to fit in more in this tribe. Now imagine you are seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every single day within minutes. There's a lot going inside your brain while you're doing that. And that's us every day on social media. That's us every day just going through different websites, watching TV, you know, and that's a lot of pressure for us, because how are we ever going to keep up with all of that? How are we ever going to consistently validate ourselves while we're going from person to person to person mentally? We just won't be able to keep up. So with all of that rapid progression, and that's only one aspect of it, with all that rapid progression, I don't think we're ready for it.
Yeah, so I love what you brought up about this tribal mentality. And basically what I'm hearing you say is that there's like, we're seeing everybody's tribe at once.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally, yeah.
And then trying to find our place in those different tribes.
Yeah.
That is such an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else comes up is around like, you know, like I know. All right, we're back. We had a little technical issue there, glitch.
Again.
Back. Cool. Yeah, so I guess I was just saying how, like, you know, you're saying about all these different sort of visual things that we see that we're trying to fit in, and from a sort of evolutionary perspective, right, that is extremely unsettling and confusing, and we really don't know what to do with so much information like that. And like you were saying, like, where do we, you know, how do we fit in like that?
Yeah.
And for me, like as soon as I start, you know, scrolling and getting in that, like, oh, what's next, that like dangerous, you know, wheel, cycle pattern, whatever. It takes a lot, and it's taken me a lot of practice to become aware of when I start to feel anxious, you know, when I start to like notice like, oh, that person's doing so much more than, or so much better than me, or you know, like, and the comparisons start coming in, and I either at that point in time I make the conscious decision either to pull away, so to stop scrolling, you know, close the app or whatever, or I sort of flip my perspective, so I see what gifts I could take from whatever I'm seeing, right? So it could be like, oh, that person's doing so well, you know, what could I learn from their method that they've used to get to where they are, for instance, you know. So to not get caught up in the anxiety of it, in that overwhelm, you know. But we definitely have to be ready to receive that information, right? Yeah. If I've already made a ton of decisions today, if I've already, like, you know, done my inspirational work, you know, within myself, like, how am I gonna now receive someone else's inspiration and that message that might come from that? So we have to have space for this additional information as well, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Actually, I totally agree 100%. yeah, it does take a level of like personal development. Yeah, a high level of personal development. You have to be in a certain mental state, just like you described, in order to be able to. And if not, then either you're going to feel that and feel crowded internally, or you're not even going to realize that you feel like that.
Right.
And then we come to the autopilot, just carry on scrolling, you know, and it gives us dopamine as well, you know. Each time we look at someone's face, and it's an inadequate way of feeling our need of being around people, and then it turns into a drug, you know. And I think that's why so many people have a social media addiction. And especially when it can cause such detrimental mental illnesses, or have a key role in creating those mental illnesses, that makes it so much more scary, because it's there but it's hidden. You know, like if someone's got, for example, a heroin addiction, right? You can see that. You can pretty much see that. You can't really just hide something like that. Whereas something with social media, number one, most people won't realize, and number two, it's socially acceptable anyway. So it's like, what are we to do about that? That's why I really don't think that we're ready as a whole, but definitely can be. But it takes a level of personal growth.
Yeah, and then what's coming up for me is as you're saying that is a sense of responsibility, right? Because we all have this personal responsibility to manage this object, realm, whatever you want to call it, this virtual world. We all have personal responsibility for how we handle it, right? And what impact it has on our life. And what's fascinating to me as well is around how during this time of extreme measures, during the lockdowns internationally, like how has technology actually brought us together? Like for you and I, we met in London and in person, and then suddenly we're both in London and we're just talking on the phone, and now I'm in the US and you're still in the UK, but we're still talking, So there's that like beauty that comes from this, and the beauty and connection that we can, one of the gifts, right, that we could take from this.
100%. Yeah, it's true. I think with anything that can cause harm to us, we can also get a lot of good from it too. There are definitely, it's like the yin and the yang, really, isn't it? And it's about how you personally decide to use it. There's so many good things that can come out of it, and so many things that come out of it daily as well. So yeah, I agree with you on that. It's quite amazing, really, where we've come, and it's the level of comfort really that we've got from it as well. It allows us to fill every need that we've got, really, doesn't it? Anything you can think of, you can fill that need with technology, which is quite insane.
That is totally insane. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. But do we need to fill every need?
That's what I was thinking.
Right? Like, maybe maybe in not filling needs, we're strengthening a part of our character. We're allowing ourselves to be patient. We're allowing ourselves to fully experience things when they do happen, good things when they do happen, as opposed to good things being there all the time. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I have this weird example that's coming up for me today, right? It's a stunning day here outside. It's like the sky is clear and there's like a light breeze, a little crisp in the air, but the sun's warm. Like, it's a really beautiful day. And I needed to wash my car. Okay, here's my quirky example. Needed to wash the car, right? I could have taken it through the car wash. That is technology. I know it's not the technology that we're talking about with screens and stuff like that, but it's an automatic car wash, and I can just get it done in like 10, 15 minutes, right? But I didn't. I washed the car in the driveway. I felt the sun on my body. I got warm. I moved my body. You know, there was a bit of exercise involved. The dog was out in the garden, running around. My neighbors drove past and, you know, hooted at me and said hi. Like, what would I would have missed out on all of those things if I'd just gone to the little drive-through. You know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's crazy to think about, isn't it? Like, yeah, you've been living a whole different reality, right? Well, not a whole different reality, but
it's just like these two things where we get to like experience with our whole body and our whole being, right? And we can be present in those times, you know. I mean, I can keep going with that whole thing. Like, you know, it's like an act of service. There's like, you know, me like connecting with my car. I don't know if that's even a thing, but whatever. You know?
It is. I think it is. Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. Like, it's about experience over just result. You know. You can get the result done both ways, but why does it need to be a race? Like, why does it have to be done so quickly by just driving through? What if you could experience that, have a good time, see your neighbor, as opposed to just going there, clicking a stunt, you know? And that's what we're always trying to solve with technology, though. We're always trying to get everything done so quickly. But what about when everything's solved? There will be no need for experience because it'll be done.
Then what? What do we do with that? Like,
we don't live, right? Because there's just no room for life anymore. And like, because that's the goal, isn't it? That's the goal of technology. But we're missing the point of it. We're missing the point of life, you know. And it's great because it solves so many problems. But I think it's nice if we can have the option, right, as opposed to it just being the norm, you know.
Yeah. I love seeing it just as a tool, right? We have this massive virtual toolbox that we get to open up and dig in and, you know, use whatever tools in there, and then we can close it, right? We can close the toolbox and we can step into reality and still live our lives.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a tool instead of like just a necessity, just that one thing. Like, you know, yeah, and life is nice when we have options. You know.
Wow, it is nice when we have options. Yeah, when we're not like addicted or sucked into one thing or obsessive, right?
Exactly. So we can have a day. We can use social media, and we can use all sorts of electronics and devices. That can still be good. and it is good. But just making sure and keeping ourselves in check, so that then it doesn't become an addiction, and we're still being spontaneous with ourselves and filling our novelty needs and going for different things, enjoying different things, experiencing life to its fullest, because that's all we really want to do, right? Like that's why we try to live our lives, so that we can experience our lives for the time that we have on earth. And I think that's important. It's very important that we don't forget that nature is a big part of being healthy, and it's so easy to desensitize yourself to the opportunity that we have to get out in nature and to just ignore it and forget about it, because all we're seeing is technology for our working days, you know. It's nice to have the balance, you know. And I would even say, like, what you did where you cleaned your car, that is somewhat nature, because it's natural. You did it, you know. Yeah, I think we need a balance. I think we need a balance.
Yeah. I think that our conversation has like come to a point there. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, as do I. As do I. No, thank you so much for watching. You've been here with Kenny Stevens, and
Caitlin Ruth. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Love, peace, and respect.